Well, now I know how the Cowboys felt last year.
I feel like we can run the table. I really do.
Giants looking for a stop. They're going to air it out. Rodgers does this better than anybody. End zone, Cobb, touchdown! Unbelievable! This to send the Packers into the NFC Championship game. It is good! The Packers are moving on! Aaron Rodgers has done it again!
Grassy Posse Packer Nation! Welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom Grassi, and here we are, close to midnight here on the East Coast, and I'm sitting here with a Packers loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers, 31-28, which is arguably one of the best games of the season. And while I would love to be able to hang my hat on that and hold my head up high, I'd be lying if I said this wasn't disappointing. But before we get into anything, I want to say that Brett Hundley looked fantastic. We went from being shut out at home 23-0. Our offense was terrible. I was on Hundley's case. I was on McCarthy's case. And Brett prepared this week. McCarthy, came in. I did not even think that this was going to be competitive. And then there was many opportunities within this game that we could have actually won. And so that being said, I do take solace in that. I am not giving up on this season in any way, shape, or form. In fact, this game makes me even more confident that we could still make the playoffs. And let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Before we even get to the first snap of the game, our boy, the golden god Aaron Rodgers, was out there bombing 35-yarder, 50-yard passes. Hasn't gotten an MRI yet because he doesn't want to get disappointed if it's not healing as well. But that being said, this guy is eligible to come back week 15 in 3 weeks against the Carolina Panthers. Will he be able to? Who knows? But that being said, a big thing that is going to determine if he's going to come back is if we are still playoff eligible. Right now, we are sitting at 5-6. We have to win out. That's what has to happen in order for us to get a wild card. But I think that's very doable, considering our next two games where we wouldn't have Aaron Rodgers, we're playing the Buccaneers and we're playing the Browns. And if the Green Bay Packers that showed up tonight show up to those games, anything can happen. Anything can happen. So I don't want to see you giving up out there, because I ain't giving up out there. In fact, let's get this hype train going, because we're going to make the damn playoffs. Let's get into this game. First off, Packers injury list. Oh boy, could span a mile. No Clay Matthews. Shocker. Kenny Clark is out. Aaron Jones out. Ty Montgomery out. So we were down to begin with. But holy crap, man. Jamal Williams. And this is Ted Thompson. I know we crap on him a lot, but that man, when he drafts well. And getting Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams this year, both studs. Jamal Williams, 21 for 66 yards with a rushing touchdown, 4 for 69 in the passing game with a touchdown. Looked incredible tonight. I love the way that kid runs. And so him and Jones and Montgomery is just a triple threat. And anytime you're able to get any of those guys the ball, it's just going to benefit us. The Steelers' first drive, they were able to go down the field with ease. I thought that this was going to be a blowout right away, considering how easily they moved the ball on us. They go for it on fourth down, obviously not caring about our defense in any way, shape, or form. We were tied for the most opening touchdown drives. We then took that lead with 5. And so the note I wrote right here is that Kevin King made a fantastic tackle that saved a TD, and then they went for it, and they got it on fourth down. And the note I did make, though, is Rodgers is not going to fix this defense. And I mean, you have Ben Roethlisberger. Listen, they got 3 turnovers, and we should have been able to capitalize on 2 of those turnovers and gotten some points out of them. But Antonio Brown is 10 for 169 yards for 2 touchdowns. Ben Roethlisberger had 4 touchdowns. It was a rough night. Le'Veon Bell also 95 yards on the ground. So that being said, the Packers pick up the ball, and they go down, and they score a touchdown. And right off the bat, I'm happy because we're not getting shut out this week. Randall with a pick. And so at this point, Randall has really dusted himself off. I believe that's his 4th pick this season. And we've been talking about him getting benched. Well, he has been benched, that he left the sidelines, and that this guy was a bust. I mean, you have to give the guy credit. You know, he's picked his head up, and he's played some damn good football. So Randall started doing well. But when the Packers, momentum when they had it, the Packers to me tonight were like that ex-girlfriend, right? You broke up with them because you had a really unhealthy relationship. It wasn't healthy for either of you. And she's calling you up and she's like, listen, like, baby, like things are different now. I've changed. I'm a completely different person. And you want to believe in them so bad. That was the Packers tonight, because they came out and they were not only competitive at some points, that they were kicking the Steelers' ass. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. They're making Ben look uncomfortable. And then eventually, you know, the defense happened again. Then Hundley got another touchdown to Jamal Williams, like a 55-yarder. And I wrote, what is happening? I was talking to a bunch of different Packers fans during this, and I don't think any of us really could have predicted this kind of outcome, this kind of game. Even with Aaron Rodgers in there, we may have been able to convert on a couple of those turnovers that we weren't able to. But, I mean, listen, I was happy with Hundley. Hawkins got burnt by Bryant real bad when it got to a tied game. But the big one that I want to talk about, there's a few McCarthy plays I want to talk about. Right before halftime, Jamal Williams breaks off a big run, and we let the clock go down. Then we complete a pass. Then we call a timeout, and then we don't do anything with it. I didn't like that. We had 90 seconds left. It shows zero confidence in Brett Hundley. It shows zero confidence in your offense. I understand not wanting to be too risky, but then again, McCarthy also makes a decision to kick a 57-yard field goal at Heinz Field with Mason Crosby instead of punting it, and just like that, the Steelers are able to tie the game. So it's very interesting to me how you see a guy like McCarthy want to play so conservatively, right? This run, pass. And then, you know, when he should be playing conservative, he's making really dumb decisions. And I definitely didn't understand what was going on before halftime, because it just looked really bad. Blake Martinez, shout out to him, played amazing today as well. He was a tackling machine. He's leading our team in tackles, also had a pick, and also had a fumble recovery as well. Devante Adams had a great game. He's 5 for 82 with a touchdown. Obviously, again, we've been talking about this for weeks, how he is Hundley's favorite target. Jordy Nelson, again, he's a ghost with him, with Hundley, but he made that big play in order to get the first down. He stretched out for that. But I wrote it here, it was a dumb choice not to punt, which it really was. And by the fourth quarter, all the momentum had shifted to Pitt. And so that being said, we weren't able to capitalize on 2 turnovers. The offense started getting stagnant. By 9 minutes left, the Steelers, they took the lead. House got really burnt real bad on an Antonio Brown touchdown. But that being said, that last drive that Hundley had, and 4th and 6, he was about to get murdered. He was about to get sacked. Thankfully, you had McCarthy be able to call a timeout. But it was a big conversion. Jamal Williams able to punch it in. And we got the ball back. The defense made a freaking stop. Like, I thought that we were going to be able to drive down the field, and we weren't able to do anything with it. Really, really poor clock management by McCarthy, because good God, they went out of bounds, and they called a timeout, and it was bad. It was just bad, because the running out of bounds allowed Pittsburgh not to waste another timeout. And so there's also going to be talk about this tomorrow, about the helmet-to-helmet of Brett Hundley and TJ Watt. You know what? I'm going to give that to them, and the reason I'm going to do that is because on that drive that we went down and scored, Devante Adams had super-duper offensive pass interference, because he literally just pushed down a defender. So it's part of the game. And Antonio Brown, I can't even get mad with you, dude. I mean, what an amazing catch. And with less than 30 seconds left, Roethlisberger's able to drive down the field, and they're able to kick the game-winning field goal. So obviously a disappointing result. We go down to 5 and 6, but we were competitive with Brett Hundley, with so many people out against one of the best AFC teams out there. And so that being said, I have a ton of confidence going into the next few weeks without Aaron Rodgers if this is the same team that shows up. If we're the same team that showed up with like the Baltimore Ravens game, then we're dead in the water. But Hundley seemed to have been making better decisions. He was getting rid of the ball. He did get sacked 4 times. Not all of them were his fault, but he is holding on to the ball. I mean, he was releasing it with like 0.32 seconds. He was releasing the ball. And so that being said, I'm not giving up on our season yet. We ran the table last year. I think we could do it again. I really, really do. And this is not me just like being overly optimistic. Given our schedule, given we have the Bucs next week and the Browns, 2 very winnable games, I think we can do it. And if Rodgers comes back, that's not an easy stretch because those last 3 games are against the Panthers, who have been looking good, the Vikings, of course, on Christmas Eve, and then you also have the Lions. So, man, I want to believe. I want to believe because that's all I got right now. But this team was fun to watch tonight, and this team gives me a lot of hope. And I was really proud of the effort that they put forward. In that, I don't know if there could be an honorable loss, but I think that this constitutes as one of them. So what do you think about it? Are you just like overly disappointed? Are you blaming McCarthy? Who are you looking at? Hundley looked great tonight. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. You could always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com, TomGrossi Comedy, or Tom Grossi Comedy on Twitter. Check out Packcast, Packast. It's this podcast. We do it twice a week. We also have fans from the opposing team come on every single Thursday, and we also do our predictions episode, which I think I'm doing pretty well so far with. But thank you so much for watching. Thanks for staying up late with me. I'll see you later this week on Thursday when we bring a Bucs fan on here. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.